Yo, 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 welcome to episode 25 of the Elite Wrestling Club podcast, where we explore individuals' dreams and the unwavering persistence to achieve them on and off the mat. Hi, I'm your host, Lance Runyon, and we are thrilled to have you join us for another inspiring episode. In this episode, we will be going behind the scenes with Brett Robbins, who is a former UNI and Panther Wrestling Club athlete and coach, and he also just stepped into a new head coaching position at Illinois Wesleyan for men's and women's wrestling. We will share personal stories and valuable insights, and we're excited to bring you a fascinating conversation that will inspire and motivate you to chase your dreams and achieve greatness both on and off the mat. So without further ado, let's welcome Brett Robbins and dive into the Elite Wrestling Club podcast world. Heck yeah.
Let's go.
B-Rob, baby. The
What's
man.
You are.
Hey, everyone calls you the man. Why does everybody call you the man?
I don't know. I'm not sure, man. I just do a good job and do your job and take care of guys, and that's about it.
It's just a testament to the person that you are, I guess.
Yeah.
The man. No better way to describe you. Just a genuine, authentic dude.
Yeah, for sure. I try.
Work your butt off, and always got a good attitude, good energy.
Yep. For sure. I mean, a big part of it, you know. If I come in with a bad one, rub off a little bit or whatever. So, I don't know. That's part of me too, man. Just, I know things can always be worse. So, always just, it is what it is, man. We'll get through it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a decision you got to make every day when you walk in the door. Like I've even just like working with Millboy, like at the museum, he's like, dude, when somebody walks in, it's 3 claps. Like no matter what's going on in my head, how I feel, if I want to get up, say something or not, it's 3 claps. I'm up at the door. I'm like, hey, how you guys doing? Where you from? What? Like, he's ready. He's fired up, ready to go. It's the same.
Bring that energy, you know.
Yep.
So
how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
That's one of my favorite quotes. Thank the Whitney brothers for that one. That's one of my favorites, man. It's with me all the time.
How's that new gig going on?
It's good, man. I got hired in April and didn't really get down here full time till August when I moved everybody. So, was really happy to do that, and it's going really well. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces right now, but it's good, man. I enjoy going to work. I love going to work every day. The people I'm around, I like the guys I got on my team. So I mean, I really can't ask for anything more right now. Just something to be excited for every day, and just try to help kids get better right now. So I'm really enjoying it.
What how many kids do you have right now?
Right now, I got 9 full-time guys, and have a girl, and then some other kids have reached out about coming out maybe when their fall sports done. So looking at probably like once they get done with their fall sports. So break those guys in here in a little bit, and then get going. So, but year one, man, I know leaning on patience a lot and just kind of building this thing, and a lot of talking to other kids and recruiting and those things, but really trying to build a strong foundation with the kids we got right now. So working through that.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, came and wrestled at UNI. Went through the program. You want to talk a little bit about that, your journey just through the program? I know you're one of the few guys that got a 6th year during your time at UNI. A few injuries, Achilles, elbow injury.
Elbow, yeah. So I graduated high school in 05 from Bloomington High School. It's from my hometown, and it's where we're back at now in Illinois Wesleyan. But so I got recruited. I went up there on a visit. Probably had like the worst campus tour visit of all time. I walked out of the West Gym. I was there watching wrestle-offs, and walked out of the West Gym and walked to the the Campanile, the bell tower, and basically went there, and then pretty much walked right back to the West Gym. Like, so I showed me like, Bartlett over there, and then like the library's over here, and this is the business building. That's all I saw. I didn't see the dome. I didn't see the rec. I didn't see dorms. I didn't see anything. So I saw some guys wrestle off in that, and then I went to Panera for lunch, and that was it. And my uncle brought me up, and we drove back, and pretty much like right away I knew what I wanted to do. I was recruited by some other schools. I wanted to visit Northern Illinois. I had some unofficials at Illinois. But once I went up there, my mind was made up, and I just knew what I wanted to do. So I got there and middle my coaches were Penrith, had Brett Penrith, Randy Pugh, Jose Deanda, and Tolly. So had those guys and a career of ups and downs. You know how that is. Like probably never be
Yep.
satisfied with it, but I did some things that I did some good things. My freshman year, I made a junior world team, and then you talked about injuries. That's when I blew up my elbow. I had Tommy John, so I was at camp at the training center, and one of our last days of camp before we'd go back home. We had a few days home, then we were going to pack back up and head to Guatemala, and it was back when the old reverse lift days. So it was like reverse lift. The kid went chest strap on me, and I was like posting out, and I just went over my elbow, and I just felt it go. I just felt it.
Oh.
I just remember like in my head, I have vivid memory, but I was like, that's not good. And the next day, like my arm was like black and blue, like the whole thing. And but I showed up to practice. I was like, well, what can I do? I can do parterre. So like I just moved around all day, like on my belly and stuff, and then flew home. And I don't know. They tried to get me to go wrestle, but I tried to wrestle that first year at UNI in the lineup, and I wrestled for about half the season. And after that, I'll break. It was just like, hey, we gotta get this fixed because you're not performing really well. And like I knew it too. Like I wasn't like a secret, and I was just like, I know. So got that fixed. So I missed. So I redshirted, wrestled half a season, missed half a season, missed all next season. So um, then I got my years in, and then I got fortunate enough to get that 6th year, and actually had that's when Doug got hired, and Doug was my coach for a year. So really reignited, kind of maybe you want to say your fire or whatever, but just really fell in love with wrestling and kind of how how Doug does everything, man, and just kind of really fell in
Yep.
love with that. And it was just when he got there, I was just like, man, I need more. I need more. Some guys didn't like it, but I was like, man, I love this. I love the environment. I loved how he talked to us. I loved just everything about it. And I was just like, this is awesome. So once I got the okay, which took a long time because we went through a couple of different compliance officers with my elbow. It's like
Yeah,
we had
Doug said it was
it was,
like January.
it was January. It was like January 8th. It was crazy. So we had like one guy working on it, and it went all the way up to like almost to get it done, and then they hired another guy. So like I had to redo it all and go through everything with him. And it was kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest, because it was hard because it was like in limbo. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know, so
Yeah.
I was getting trained, I was wrestling, I was doing all that stuff, I was watching my weight, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna wrestle or not. But kind of the testament to Doug too, and just kind of keeping me along, the straight and narrow, and like, hey man, like you never know, and he always tells you guys, you never know what's gonna happen, you never know, and just you got to be ready. So I really had to take that to heart, or I don't know, man. So so basically they like, hey, we got your stuff turned in. I was like, okay, that's great. And it was over break, we're training, and then they turned it in, and the next day they're like, hey, we got approved. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like that. Once it got in, it was clear, cut and dry. It was done. But so basically, like I found out like on a Wednesday PM or like a Thursday, whatever it was, and we had national duels that weekend. And Doug's like, hey, you're going. And I was like, all right, let's go. So, and then after that, I was in the lineup, and things didn't go my way, but um, was in a lineup mid conference finals, and I lost in the final in like the double overtime right out, and then I actually lost to I wrestled Gaethje, and I beat him during the year, and then he beat me in the true second match to go to nationals. So that's kind of how my college career ended right there. So yeah, that was it. And then I stuck around, wrestled in the club, and that was a lot of fun. I placed at the Open and got to train and got to wrestle with Doug a lot, which was awesome because he was pretty crazy back then still. So
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
he still is, but just you gotta
He's still pretty crazy.
but I gotta get my hands on him, and that was, looking back, like some of like the most growth like you could probably ever have was because of that, and I got to thank God for what he did for me. So yeah, so that was UNI career right there. Yeah,
Yeah, I was looking into that Gaethje match. It came down to a stall call and overtime.
yeah. I mean, I think we both had stall calls too, which was kind of that crappy thing. So I remember like I don't know, it was 3-3, and I think we both had stall calls, and just it was overtime. I had one. That was my third overtime match. So I wrestled a kid from Utah Valley, took him down in overtime one, And then my final match went to like the ultimate time, like, overtime, and then our
Yeah.
match time, and then just out of nowhere it was like boop, and I was like, this is how it ends, huh? Like I was I was pretty upset. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know how it is what it is. I mean, I could have scored more points. That's on me. That's on me as a competitor. But just kind of like, don't leave it in an official's hands. So, but it
Right.
just isn't. And, it took a little bit for me to get over. But I remember Doug was like, "Hey man, we're gonna fight for you to get a spot to nationals," because they had wild cards still back then, where like kind of everybody put all the guys up, and Doug's like, "We're gonna try to get you a spot." Because at that point, I'd only lost a couple matches once I got in the lineup, um, but yeah, I didn't get one. But I just remember I told Doug because David Bonet qualified, and Bone was a really good training partner for me, good friend. And I just remember like instead of being like sad and mopey about it, and some guys blow off steam, go out or whatever. I just remember I text Doug
Yep.
and I go, just thanked him for everything and just told him like, hey man, like whatever Bone needs, man, just let me know. Like I'm 100% in on it. So, um, training partner, drill partner, whatever, like I'm there, no problem. So that's kind of how that ended. Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's not only just a testament to who you are as a person, but also like what Doug preaches. That's the kind of stuff he preaches all season long from day one. It's like, hey, don't wait around. You go back to like you waiting to get that 6th year. I mean, he says the same thing to true freshmen when they walk on campus. They
yeah,
come here fully ready to redshirt. But I mean, then you get a guy that somehow gets hurt, and it's like, okay, like, are you ready? It's like,
yeah,
well, you better be. You don't got a choice now. We need you. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
you step in, man. So yeah, so I mean, some really, really good like life lessons there, and just kind of continuing how to move forward and grow and learn and all those things. So, yeah, just got a lot to be thankful for, man. So,
Yeah, I mean, and then you talked a little bit about like PWC.
yep.
Being able to be an athlete. How long were you an athlete for PWC?
Let's think here. So 12, I think 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. I pretty much wrestled like that 12 to 16 cycle, um, in that era. And then before, after the 15 open, I lost to Jason Ness in the rounds of plays at the open. I lost that match and then came back and, we were just training, doing some things. And, I ruptured my Achilles. And, pretty much after that, I remember I was like, I'm good, just,
Right.
and not that I didn't love it or like I didn't want to get back, because obviously like I got back and I still wrestled and trained at a really high level with a lot of good guys. But I just, for me at that point, I was like, it's time, man,
Yeah.
and just, there were some things that I did that like I could hang my hat on and be happy about. Because at one point I wasn't very happy with how things went. And then at that point, like I was like, I'm content with what I've done, and just, you got to move on too at some point. But for me, like I was like, I'm content, man. I'm good, and whatever happens, happens. Like if I stick around and coach, you ask me to stick around and coach. Like if not, like I'll figure things out, man. That's kind of always something I've told Doug too. Like I'll figure things out, man. So yeah, at that point, like ruptured my Achilles, and then kind of came back and was doing some things, and then um, I think where I was able to finally start getting in the sauna actually, and he came in one day and we talked, and he's like, "What are you thinking?" And I was just like, "Man, like I think I'm good on the competing part," and just kind of like, well, if that's the case, this is what I want to do. And I was like, all right, man, I'm all in. So that's kind of how that happened, and I got moved into a coaching role and just kind of ran with it, man. So really try to do a good job at it and set the bar really high too. I told him that like just want to be irreplaceable. Like no one can come in and do my job, and that's something I really tried to do. So um, that's kind of how I got in my coaching role.
Just a little conversation in the sauna with Doug.
Yeah, yep, a
So
lot of
obviously, then using your 6 years and your injuries, your perspective, navigating through adversity, learning that resilience, that persistence, kind of those life lessons that you talked about. How'd you kind of shaping all that into your coaching role, right away? I mean,
well,
still fairly young.
yeah, but I think you just do it by kind of just just how you do everything, kind of like I used to that quote, it's just like,
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not one to hang my head, man. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be a guy to be mopey. I'm just, like if you're injured, you got to get back too. Like, so you
Right.
kind of attack those things. And that was one thing that, I learned at a young age too, because I had a dad who had ALS, passed away when I was young. And I mean, seeing like that guy be sick and kind of what he did. And I mean, my dad still went to work till he could stop pulling himself up in the semi. He drove a semi truck. And I remember one summer I went to work with him every day in the summer just so I could be around him, but probably more so like looking back, like he needed help too, and as he started getting sick and getting worse. So for me, it was like, man, like I saw this guy go through it, and he passed away, and just kind of what that does to your body, and couldn't breathe and had food too. But I mean, just see some stuff. It's like, man, like shit ain't that bad, So for me, it
Yeah.
was like, ah, man, maybe I got an Achilles injury. Okay, big deal. Like it'll heal. I'll get better. Um, than anything else too, man. You just kind of keep moving forward, but then you just try to rub that off on the guys, like you said, man. Like bring good energy and make them feel good, and be hard on them too, though, when they need it. And
Right.
but just really try to be there for the guys and put as much as I can into them. So it's really, I don't know, something they just kind of carry along with you, but it just kind of becomes who you are, and it's a big piece of me. So just try to bring that along and help the guys out.
Oh yeah, I like how you touched on that. With your dad passing, because I mean, based on just listening to you talk about it, I think that's a lot where your perspective comes from,
Yeah.
and knowing that things could always be worse.
Right.
We got it pretty good, no matter what's going on.
Yeah. Right.
Keep moving forward, and I mean, I like to say day by day. Stay in the moment and just control what you can today, and
Yeah.
react to what's going on around you. So then you start coaching a little bit. I guess I'm not sure who you guys had as athletes, when you were first started
Yeah.
coaching, but I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, your philosophy, and kind of stepping into that role, and transitioning to PWC, then volunteer assistant.
Yeah.
How did that kind of go?
Yeah, so I still like did a lot with like the strength stuff. Like I was always there and did all that. And that was, I mean, I always enjoyed it too. Like the early mornings and being with the guys, and like you said, like, so you know how that can be, those early mornings, and guys are like, man, we gotta lift again, or it's early. And it's like, man, like guys, let's wake up, let's bring the energy. Like we're gonna get a good
Yep.
lift. So I always enjoyed that. But yeah, man, we had a really special class that, and some guys around that time when I came in, and think like Foster and Albert were in that class before, that were really good. And and then that first class, I think when I came in, was like Max and Lujan and Steyert and Holschlag and Payton and that crew. So it was Schwarmy. I mean, they were a lot of fun to coach. You know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah.
I mean, just like their dedication too, though. I mean, those guys worked their butts off, and then just became really close to all of them too throughout that process. But um, those guys were a lot of fun to coach and kind of bring around and be around and bring along. So and then for me being young too, because I got to wrestle all of them. I
Yep.
mean, I wrestled all of them. I wrestled Hochschlag. I wrestled, Pato, Steyert, double legged me and bow and arrowed me 100 times. Lujan used to throw me on the head, and Max would grab my leg and never let go. And so I mean, there was just a lot of fun. A lot of, like, a real fun time in my life too, just being in the mix with those guys, and two, like, just be making sure, like, hey man, you got to show up today. Like, you got to be ready to go.
Right.
So
Somebody needs a partner. You got to go.
yeah, so they'd be like, hey, B-Rob, you want to go today? Yeah, let's go. All right, Tuesday. All right, let's go. And so that was a lot of fun too. And then just seeing the growth those guys had. I mean, just because I got close with some of them, and I spent a lot of time with guys like Peyton, and just kind of bringing them along, and um, seeing those guys get better and throughout the years. And I mean, that was a lot of fun too. From where they were to where they got, that was a lot of fun too, that process. So, but a good group of guys, and all of them are, man. Everyone's special, just in their own way. So that's why the relationship part's really important to me. And
Yep.
because I know I can go back through and probably call up just about anybody, and they'd probably show up for me. That's something I feel really good about, and just because I think that's one of the most important pieces of coaching is the relationships you build. So, still have good relationships with all those guys and everybody that's come through, and just a lot of fun, man. That group was a lot of fun. So,
Before we begin this week's episode, we want to give a big shout out to Code of Silence. Are you ready to elevate your hunting game to the next level? Look no further than Code of Silence. They're not your ordinary hunting gear brand. They are pioneers in innovation. With over 50 combined years of experience in crafting outdoor products, Code of Silence is rewriting the rules of hunting attire. They're all about delivering not just clothing, but experiences that boost your efficiency and success in the field. From authentic, passionate, and down-to-earth hunters, their gear is designed by hunters for hunters. It's not just about style, it's about results. Visit their website at www.codeofsilence.com and be a part of the Code of Silence community, where tradition meets innovation. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about setting the standard of the program now and kind of what, it's transformed into, the culture that we have now, there's no part-time really anymore. It's not,
no, tails off,
like
man.
everyone's there to kind of put in the work and chase a national title together. And
right.
I think that's something that those guys initiated, and
Yeah.
when they left, it was like, hey, you guys got to pick up kind of where they left off.
Yeah.
And
Right. You think about it too, like you just want to leave in a better place, Doug preaches that too, and and I think even before that it did, man. It just guys do it differently too, I mean,
right.
even guys before that were different, but like, that group really I feel like that group really set a really, really good standard for maybe what things need to be moving forward. And then obviously that gets carried on and fostered through everyone else. And it is where it is right now, so it's kind of what you want for your program and for your leaders to take it and run with it and to kind of not say make it their own, but find a way to lead and grow it and, make it better for the next class and the next class and moving forward. So,
Yep. I mean, obviously you did a lot of stuff then with PWC with the, fundraising, and obviously always did the gear and all that stuff. So you got a lot of tools, little tricks, so if you want to talk about that fundraising role and the some of the challenges you kind of face and some of the most rewarding moments as well.
Yeah, I mean, I came in and just kind of like, I remember like a fundraiser got dumped on me at Club One. I was like, well, this is kind of your baby now. The shoot did, Tyler used to do it and then he didn't. So I kind of stepped into that right away and was like, oh man, all right, there's a lot going on, and got that thing going and made it a really good event. It was before, but just kind of had to like do some things after to get it going. And then really start stepping up a little bit more with the golf, stepping in and making sure you use those relationships with past athletes. Like, hey, we need you guys to come back. But I don't need you to come back and golf together. You guys need to come back and golf on separate teams. Like, we need to fill this up. And golf's really blown up again the last few years, which was pretty cool, and just sponsorship wise and those things. So, but it all goes back to, that aspect of it. It all goes back to relationships, man. Like people feel good about what they did at UNI and they want to come back and help. So that's why it's like, I keep in touch with a lot of the guys still and just would be like, hey, like, whatever. All right, come back for golf. It's coming up. Oh, I'd love to. Okay, great. And just um, keeping strong relationships and building relationships with guys, because there's still things you have to foster when you're done too. It's not like guys come and compete and then you slap them on the butt and say, all right, man, thanks, see ya. It's like,
Yep.
What about now? So just stay part of their lives and then just seeing the club grow, that was fun. Like they added some things and just kind of being part of all that. It just was a lot of fun. I mean, I wasn't hands on with everything, but definitely had a hand in some of it. Which was fun. And so that was I mean, it's fun to learn and grow. And I guess Doug, gave a lot of responsibility to me too. I guess trust me to do it, because I did the gear. I did, last year I did travel the first time, and I was like, hey man, you're doing travel this year. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to screw it up. That's the first thing in my head. Screw this up. And for the most part, things went pretty well. But it's also like I didn't look at it like I have to do it. I just flipped it to like I get to do this. I get to gain experience doing this. And that's kind of how I've always traded all those things, like fundraising and travel and gear and like you get to do it. Like I get learn something. I get to be part of something, just kind of just flipped it in
Yep.
my mind instead of making it be like, oh, this is heavy. It's like, well, man, I get to do it. All right. Like we get to travel. Okay, cool. Like this is what we're doing. Okay. But then like coaches, the other coaches, they always try to, they make sure they want to make things go smooth too. So they always, whatever they can do to help too. So it's not just like, it wasn't me thing, but yeah, man, travel was a lot of fun. It was different, but it was still like, it was fun, man. I didn't hate it, I guess I could say, but not my favorite thing to do, but I didn't hate it. Like I got to do it. And I like being around the guys, man. So that's why I like traveling and stuff. So I always think that's fun. So
Yeah, I mean, just going back to when you're talking about the relationships and stuff. I mean, even Doug was saying it the other day. It was almost like you guys had teammates before you got here. Like, are you still staying in touch with them? I mean,
yeah,
are you checking in on them? Are you? And it's just like, wow, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
how important that really is to make sure you
mm-hmm,
you let someone know that you still got their back. Hey, we were on the same team for whatever 2, 3, 4
right,
years, or
yeah,
I coach you for 5, 6 years. It's like, well, it's not just a pat on the butt. Good work,
yeah,
and we'll see. I think and that's a kind of a testament to this place and the people that Doug have brought in as well that extend that relationship beyond
right,
just that business aspect of almost.
yeah,
Hey, you're here for 5 years. You make the most of it, and
yeah,
I mean, if we need you, we'll call you up.
yeah. Well, that's been fun for me, man. Like I still have like a group chat with about 7 guys I wrestled with that really close with, and still really close with a lot of guys that were like on my team and teammates, and and even like I think it's cool, man. Like Hodges was on the podcast the other day, and I listened to that, man. And
Yeah,
Jake played a really big role in my success when I post collegiately because that guy, he was a guy that was like, hey man, I need a partner today. Can you come in? Yep, I'll be there. Like never questioned anything. Hey, I need a drill. Hey, I need a wrestle hard. Hey, whatever. That guy was always there, man. So I always let him know too, man, that like my success or whatever, like it wasn't just me, man. It was you, and then it's everybody that comes along too. Like there's a lot of people that play a really important piece to all of our careers and lives, and I just know that like I don't do this alone. Like I have a lot of help, or I've had a lot of help. So I know I like to try to
yep,
make sure that like people know that, and part of that's keeping in touch with them and just thanking them and doing those kinds of things. So um, really lean back on those relationships, man.
yeah. I think, and after Drew won his national title in that interview, it goes right back to that.
Yeah, right.
It's bigger than me. This is the Panther train.
Yeah,
It's all the people before me, all the people that are gonna come along, all the supporters and fans and
yeah,
family, friends, all that. It's way bigger than just one person.
yeah. And that's a testament to Drew. Like he could have made it about him,
Yep.
but he made it about everyone that helped him in the place and all those, man. So that's pretty cool to see, man. That's what the growth you want to have for your guys, and he spent a lot of time with Randy, and I mean Randy's one of the most genuine stand up dudes I've ever met, man. And I know I learned a lot from that guy. So and relationship wise too, man. I think he's one of the best guys at building relationships with athletes. And so able to coach them and be around him and learn some things, man, it was just I really took a big piece of that with me when I came here, just kind of seeing how he does things. And he'll be the first guy to make fun of you if you get pinned, but he'll also be like the first guy to be there for anything else. So
Yep.
um and that's just kind of him too, kind of like, man, like, yeah, so what? It's just a match. Like we'll bounce back from it. It's fine. You're gonna bounce
Yeah.
back. Just really appreciate that piece I got from him too, because it's a big piece, I think. Instead of it
Yeah.
just matches, like a big piece and getting guys out of their comfort zone, getting them to do other things, not just always having to focus on wrestling. And um, I learned a lot of that from him too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Real good at keeping it simple, keeping it
yeah,
light. It's hey, like you said, it's just a wrestling match, right? I mean,
yeah,
there's really two ways to win a match. You either score more points than the guy or you pin him. So
yeah,
go figure one way out. that, that's that's a Randy quote right there.
yeah, hell
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that was the next thing I really wanted to ask you about was just different pieces. Obviously, you talked about your relationship with Randy and Doug. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of other coaches and people you've taken from, but those are probably the two biggest ones that you talked about.
Yeah.
so far, and I didn't know if there was any other things that you've taken away from them guys other than relationships and just genuine and stand up like you talked
Yeah.
about
Right.
too, especially transitioning now into your head coaching role.
Yeah. Just like being around Doug, probably like when he came into my life, anyways, was probably a really critical piece of my life, I think. Because I was at a point where, like I kind of said, like maybe I didn't love wrestling. Like I liked it, but I didn't really love it like I should have. And I wasn't very happy with it. And then just kind of seeing how that guy, like leads and does things, man. Like he's an incredible leader. And to get guys to buy in and to believe in what he's doing. Because, I mean, like there's times, man, you do some stuff and you're like, man, what are we doing? Or this doesn't make any sense. But then it all comes back and it's like, okay, I
Right.
see why we did that now. So that was one of the big things that like I leaned on when he came. Was just, man, like I trust you 100%. Whatever we do, whatever you tell me, like I'm in. You know. And as I got into coaching, I didn't always agree with it, but I did a lot of the time just because he was my coach and how we kind of see things. But at the same time, it was like I got your back. So so I really learned like a really big piece of like the leadership part from him. And just kind of how to lead guys and how to get guys to buy into what you're doing and believe in what you're doing. Because man, like, because if you don't, or if you're questioning stuff, you know how hard that can be. If these are
Yep.
spinning, and I don't, why are we doing this today, or this way would be better, or whatever. Like that can really take a toll on you too, because you're like, I want to do this, but maybe I should be doing this, and um, so seeing how that guy leads and just kind of, I mean, through the situation right now, like the guy's just like, I'll find a way. We'll figure it out, and that's just how he's with
Right.
everything. So it's just like, man, just figure it out, man. So I really appreciate that from him. And then, another guy that was a big piece of my career was my high school coach. And that was like when I got into wrestling, like he's been part of my life since like I started wrestling. So, um, but just, he did a lot for me as far as like, I didn't come from much, I was in a 1-bedroom house for 5 people. I slept on the floor till I was like in high school. So, but just like making sure I got to tournaments and like he paid for stuff for me and, did some of those things and just always made sure that like I had access to wrestle and whether that was through the club or whatever, our kids club and stuff, but just making sure that um, rides and those kinds of things. So that guy, I mean, he took me everywhere. He was always there for me. So, I mean, I give a lot of credit to him too, because like he just got done like being the head coach, but he's still providing out, just like the opportunities provides kids, man, and just seeing how he interacts with everybody, even like the good kids and the bad kids being a high school coach. So, um, I
Right.
learned him too, man, just opportunity wise and what kind of you want to do for your guys, your athletes and those things. So, I'm really appreciative of that too. So, yeah.
Like I like that piece about you know the best guy, the worst guy.
Hmm.
They're almost treated the same, and everyone's given the same opportunities. And I think that's one thing I noticed about like Jason Christensen. Even when
Hmm.
I was at Southeast Polk, I mean, you got 100 guys on your team, and it's like the
Yeah.
100th guy is just as important as the
Right.
first guy, and everywhere in between. It's cool to see, and it's a big
Yeah.
big piece when it comes to coaching and leadership and how to make people know that they're cared about.
Well, just
So
think about, I guess, at least I know where I'm from. Like I had kids on my team and maybe the attention they got at wrestling practice is the most attention they'll get all day. And
right.
those are that like G used to tell me, and Gart, he'd be like, man, like that can really make a difference for a kid, and wherever he ends up, whatever. Like, I mean, that's still up to him, but like, um, those things, like him coming to practice and me like giving him some attention, he goes, that was a really big deal because it might be the most attention they get all day. So for him, I know that was an important piece with the kids that like I wrestled with and went to school with and things, and just give them an opportunity too, man. You want kids to have a good experience, right? Like,
Yep.
and think about beyond that, even the sport. Like, you want kids to be involved in the sport. So now now you're giving them attention, you're giving them a good experience, you're growing the sport. So now you're doing taking on a lot of roles at once, but it's all for for the sport of wrestling, man. And I think we all know that. I mean, we all love it. You know what I'm saying? So you can do that for a kid, man, and keep a kid involved, and maybe he rubs shoulders with somebody and he gets them involved in those things, or maybe later in life his kids get involved. Like that's an important piece, man, to kind of keep growing the sport. So, um, all those things matter.
Yeah, and I mean, just sitting here, I'm like, man, B Rob's one of the best dads I think I've ever seen too. It's like all these things you're talking about, go right into parenting, and
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, your parenting. And I mean, obviously you got two kids, wife at home, you just moved from
yeah,
Cedar Falls to Illinois, and just, balancing that and figuring it
yeah,
out as in, your time and how to, still be able to give your kids the attention that they need and deserve as well.
yeah. Well, here's another sauna talk with Doug, and I remember I had Nora. She's a baby, and I remember I was in a sauna one day, and just me and Doug, and I think one day I just looked up at him. I was like, "Hey, man," just kind of like talking about being a coach and a parent, and I felt like, can you can you do both, and can you do both basically? Because I know for me at that point, like if I could instead of being in at 7, if I could do a drill at 9, like I'd rather do a drill at 9 because I could spend time with my kid in the morning.
Right.
So and those are some things that like I struggled with at first because I was always an athlete first guy. So like I was always, I mean, I used to be at the gym crack it on like every day. I'd be there all day. That was just me, and I was good. But then I was like I had kids, and now it's like things started to shift. And I just remember talking to him about it, and I asked Doug a question about being, a good coach and a good dad, and he just looked up at me and he just goes, "You can be great at both." And I was like, "That's all I needed to hear." So, um, so from that point on, man, I just made it like just make it a priority to be great at both. So like for me, like when it was coaching time, it's on. Like it's coach, but um, when I'm home, like try to give my kids all the attention I can. So like you said, man, I got two kids. I got two crazies, but they're a lot of fun. My daughter, she's 5. And my little guy, he's 2. He's as big as my daughter. He's as big as my 5-year-old already. So that's kind of like been fun to watch them do stuff. But yeah, man, they're awesome, and I I really take the dad role serious too because I lost mine at a young age, and he passed away when I was 16. But I could probably go back a few years and probably be like, man, I probably lost him really then because then he got really sick, and
Right.
at that point in my life, like he got put in a home and stuff. So it's like I saw him maybe once a week, and then once wrestling started, I barely saw him, and then things happen. So towards the end there, like I didn't see him a whole lot. And that doesn't mean he's not wasn't there, but it's just like physically. But so I really try to be the best version of a dad as I can, man. Like I just try to be the best version of me, man, for them, and put all I can into them. So it's like, I mean, back in Iowa, I haven't really had the weather for it here yet, but it'd be like, yeah, the kiddie pool out, and I pull up in the kiddie pool, and it's like, Dad, get in. I'm like, all right, pop the top, and I jump in, like no questions asked, man. That thing. And I'm not even a water guy, but I'm like, screw it, like I'm doing it for my kids, and um, so like I said, man, just really pour as much as you can, both. I mean, like
Yep.
who can't be great at both? So I really do that, man. I really try to put a lot into my kids and making sure that they know I love them, but at the same time too, like coach can come out on them too a little bit. And, like you got to see them fail, you got to, and you got to get on them. They, sometimes they need it, and but man, just yeah, being a dad's been like best job I ever had, because it's been a lot of fun, and it is challenging, man. I got a 5-year-old who pushes right now. She's figuring things out, and I'm
Yep.
like, dude, just listen, but just got to go back to, she's learning too and figuring things out, and lean on patience for that, and I got to grow as a dad too, and there's some things like I
Yep.
talk about, and there's things I got to get better at. So just continue to find ways to be great at both, man. And then I got my wife Holly, and she's kicking ass here, so it's been a lot of fun to see her take on some new challenges too as a teacher and what she's doing, and to really like be like, hey man, like if you want to go after this, like go after it, because there's been opportunities, and we stayed in Cedar Falls a lot of the time because we thought that was best for our family, and an opportunity came up to be a head coach, and we talked about it. And we got to the point where it was like we're talking about it a lot, and then finally she was just like, "What do you think?" Like, kind of like left it up to me, and
Yep.
like, man, I just think this is kind of a challenge I kind of want to go after. So, yeah. So I mean, a lot of, I guess you say, like, a big shout out to her for that. But man, she's been awesome, and I remember Nora's freaking out about something, um, but even like when I got engaged or when I was like thinking about getting married, I remember I talked with Doug in the sauna. And just like, hey man, like, what do you think? And he's like, man, I think it's a great idea. Kind of like, she's solid. Because he's like, if she wasn't, I'd tell you, which I appreciate. But
Yep.
just, you can have a wife or a partner or whatever that can, they can contribute to your success, and that's what you want in a relationship. And Holly, like, she
Right.
did, even when I was trained, man, like, she traveled with me. She made sure I always had what I needed. I mean, she cooked all of our meals. Like, I'm not a big cook, but I mean, I can cook some things, but I mean, she takes care of me, and we fit together really well. Our personalities, like, we're kind of opposites, but we blend really well together because she's a very type A, and I'm very much like, I'm like, we'll figure it out. Things could be worse, type stuff. And that, I think
Yep.
that's why we help each other, because she keeps me in line, and then I can also like balance hers too sometimes when it's like things don't go right.
Right. Yep.
Um, but yeah, we met at UNI, and she was on the dance team, so we met in the West Gym, and so that's kind of cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then we dated for a while. I mean, we dated 6 years before we got engaged, and then got married, and yeah, so we've been, I think, 13 years together, married 7, dated for 6, and I could probably say, like, probably could have married her probably after a couple or 3 or 4 years or whatever, and things would still be. It was just one of those things. Like, I just didn't
Yeah.
do it. But we were happy, and um, yeah. But when it happened and we got married, man, it was a lot of, we're growing our family together, and her and I are growing too. So it's a
Yep.
lot of each other.
Before continuing with the episode, we would like to give a shout out to our second sponsor of the episode, the Wash Bar. Experience the Wash Bar for a shiny ride. Located in Cedar Falls, Iowa at 1125 Fountains Way, the Wash Bar offers a top-notch car wash. They've got options for every need, from a quick wash to a full spa day for your car. You can choose from memberships or pay as you go, whatever suits you best. They even remember your preferences for a personalized experience. With modern tech, 24-hour self-service bays, and free extras like vacuums and tire checks, the Wash Bar is your car's best friend. Visit today for a sparkling clean. Thanks to the Wash Bar for sponsoring this episode. Now let's get back to the episode. Yeah, I mean, just talking about your growth a little bit there, I guess I'm just interested in, a couple of things that, you've improved upon this year already, and maybe a couple things that you're still working on to improve.
Yeah, I guess for me the big thing is the recruiting piece. Um, and that's just because, like, we are a new program, so it's like I got to talk to a lot of kids. I got to reach out to a lot of kids, and then just continue to build relationships with those guys, because I know I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to kids. I enjoy being around their parents. I enjoy the visits. I enjoy all those things. Um, so for me, it's just making sure, like, I get kids excited about Wesleyan and interested, and get them to campus and doing those things, and then um, and this will come, I think, but just the outreach from the old alumni. We had an event, and I would have liked more to be there. That's for sure. We had some back out, but it still turned out really good, and we had a little tailgate and stuff at a football game. But just being able to, because I'm at a program that was dropped, so there's still some,
Right.
so some guys are, like, well, when I was an athlete there, they didn't care about us. When I was an athlete
Right.
there,
Pretty bitter.
they didn't give a about us, and I'm like, okay, like, talk about some other things, and I'm just like, well, I just hope it's different now, and here, like, I got an AD who's, I mean, that he's pretty sharp, and he pretty much is like, man, I just want to give you the tools to do your job and to be successful, and I'll be involved as much as you want, or I'll stay out of it as much as you want. And everything he's told me, man, like, he's followed through on, and all the people that I know on a professional level that deal with him are like, man, he's a stand-up guy, and if he says it, like, he's gonna do it. Um, so I feel really good about that. But yeah, just outreach still, because I know there's things that I want to grow the program, but the alumni base and those things, I mean, that's an important part of it too, because they kind of are your foundation, right? Like,
Yep.
so it's like, so I had a program that had a foundation, and then it was building, and then it's been dropped for about 40 years. So it's like, man. So I actually had an event, and then we had a guy from the very very first program. He was a senior, and the very first year I had wrestling, he was on the wrestling team, and he came back through, and it was actually really cool because he lives down in Texas, and just
Oh
worked out.
wow.
Yeah, so it just worked out for him to be here. His name's Warren Townsend, and um, just for him to come up and just kind of hear his stories, and he talked about wrestling and um, the guys he wrestled with, and so it was yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Just kind of hearing stories of the past, and but I know just trying to mend some of those fences. I know it'll take some time, but just want guys to know it's going to be different. And even here at Wesleyan, they've introduced, I'd say probably 8 to 10 sports in the last handful of years, and every year
Dang.
they every year they've gotten better. But I think it's a testament to the support from our administration and our athletic staff and all those pieces, because you can't do without them either. So
Right.
um, just hopefully they know that like things are a little different, and it's not just like an old mat rolled out. Like we have a wrestling room, and we have a lounge, and we have locker rooms, and we have a weight room. We have all those things that like they didn't have, and so hopefully they can see that like they're really stepping up and really trying to grow the program and build it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
good to hear, man. I'm glad.
no,
I'm
it's
just
cool.
glad things are working out for you, and I
Yeah,
know you deserve it, and it's good that
yeah,
you did what was best for you. And
right.
I'm always rooting for you, and
Yeah, man. Well, I
always
appreciate.
always were there for me, no matter what I needed. Coming back from a couple shoulder surgeries and all that, just whenever I needed a partner, called on B Rob. Needed a warm up partner, whatever it was.
I get cradled 100
So
times.
I appreciate you.
Just roll my ass up. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
it
got
was.
it. So,
I'm
but
sure you caught me in a couple lat drops a few times, but
I got you a few, but maybe not. I don't know. But it's
no,
fun. Go ahead, man. Like that's
yeah,
part of it.
I
Sometimes.
think one of my favorite memories is probably from Fargo. I just, obviously an old teammate now, but I was about to wrestle Dejan, and I was just so worked up from the year before. I was like, man, dude, I mean, this guy just torched me last year. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm in the semifinals at Fargo, and I'm
Oh,
like, how did I even get here? I was down 8-0 the match before, ended up pinning the guy with a lat drop. And I mean, I just remember you tell me, you're like, all right, I've been watching some film. It's like, just I want you to hard gut him one way and just misdirection gut. And it worked, ended up pinning him. And
yeah.
my parents were like, dude, you should have seen B Rob. You jumped from the floor all the way up on the stage, I think. Something like that. Just 5
Yeah.
foot box jump, just
Right.
hyped up, fired up,
Yeah, I
ready to
remember.
go, I think.
I think I remember telling you, man, he's gonna come out hard. He's gonna get you put down. I'm like, you're gonna have to defend like hell down there. But after that, you probably be in pretty good shape, and obviously it worked out, man, because you were in the finals, and
Yeah.
you're pretty fired up after that too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. Like just go back and seeing like you guys like do well. Like I mean that's a big piece, man. I enjoy it when guys get to have success, and that's part of it. So yeah, it was fun, man. I love doing Fargo. That was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say it. I'm sure you helped out. Did you get to help out with Illinois this year?
Yeah, yeah, I did. It was different, because I was on the other
Yeah.
side of it for a while. So kind of like you're trying to catch those guys, like being with Iowa, and we definitely gotten better, and so that was a lot of fun, a big piece of it, and
Yep.
um, I still know, like I knew all those guys and still know all of them. So, but then coming back, it was just like just kind of reconnecting, and guys that like I wrestled with are now coaching, right, in high schools
Yep.
and doing things. So then they've got kids that are wrestling. So it was just a lot of fun to reconnect with some of the old guard, that was been involved since I was in school, and then getting very involved with all the guys that maybe were my age or coming through when I was, and seeing those guys coach and how they lead and how they do things. So it was a really good experience, and I'm glad I got to do it. And I never really do like Fargo for me. It's about the guys, and that's what I always try to make it about. Even now, like it's about the guys and their success, and you want to put them in the best opportunity to have success at that tournament and to succeed. So, um,
Right.
like you're saying, man, like so, like seeing you like win and get in the finals, man, that was awesome. Like I enjoy that, but I enjoy helping a guy like you who was pretty good, and then helping maybe a kid who's not that good too, because I
Yep.
might not have a club or some things like that, because it's an experience for them. They can take that with them forever, and it could also be a point where, man, like a young kid maybe falls in love with the sport, So that's why, like, it's like, man, I'll help anybody. I don't care if you're the best guy or the worst guy. Like, if you ask me for help, I'm gonna be there, man. So I just smile on my face, jump in there, man, and just try to help guys out.
Before wrapping up this week's episode, we would like to extend our gratitude to our third and final sponsor, Mulligan's Brick Oven, Grill and Pub. Savor fantastic flavors at Mulligan's Brick Oven. Whether you're in the lively pub or the laid-back East Wing, Mulligan's serves up incredible food. Their brick oven pizzas and creative pub dishes have something for everyone. And they've got a great selection of beers too. With extended hours, you can enjoy their delicious food whenever you like. Find them conveniently located between 18th Street and the Cedar Prairie Trail. Mulligan's Brick Oven, where every bite is a treat. Special thanks to Mulligan's Brick Oven, Pizza, Grill, and Pub for their support. Yeah, I think I got maybe two more questions, and we'll wrap up with some rapid fire. But um, what's the best advice piece that you'd give for a new head coach or a new coach coming up?
Patience. For me, it's something to lean on, because of where I was at and where I'm at now. It's different,
Yep.
and the kids are different, and not that, um, and it's not a knock at all. We're just different kids. So, um, I know for me, like, the patience part and just growing this thing, because like I mean, they are. It's just different, like the UNI room and then where I'm at now. Like, it's just different.
Yep.
So, leaning on patience and just building. Like, well, how's this thing going to shape? How are these blocks going to go together?
Right.
Um, and a lot of those pieces are the recruits, and like you said, like the alumni, and all these different pieces. So, really trying to work at that part of it. And I think we're getting there. Like, I think we're doing the right things. It's just going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to be like kids going to go out now, slap hands, and like all these kids are going to get their hand raised. Like, I know it's not going to happen, um, but they're getting better. I know that,
Yeah.
and not afraid to work hard. And
Right.
that's a really big piece of it too, is the effort piece, and just go after something. So I like the group of guys we have, and excited for that. But definitely, like, just the patience part, just because I don't know. I've heard some things too. Like, once you think you know everything, like, you don't. And I know for
Right.
me, I definitely don't know everything. So I'm just really trying to continue to grow and listen, and listen to other coaches, at Wesleyan, and kind of how they do things, or what's worked for them. And it's been a fun piece too, just connecting with other coaches and learning from them. So,
So is it like a building year this year? Like no competition, or
oh no, we're
will you be
wrestling.
able to?
No,
Okay.
we're wrestling. So,
Good. Yeah,
yeah,
I wasn't sure.
yeah. At first, it was like, kind of, let's do a full schedule type deal, and I was like, let's, as much as like you want to. I was like, man, like, at that time, maybe we only had a few kids like said they were like coming or gonna come out, and a few of them were at the same weight. So I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. And so we just had some conversations, and we thought we came up with the best solution. And so we're gonna wrestle in open tournaments this year, but we got the okay to, we're gonna wrestle in conference, and we can go to the regional, and we can do all those things. So, um,
Heck yeah.
yeah, that was important for me too. Just want to make sure you guys had an opportunity to do those.
Right.
Yeah, so we're gonna do opens this year, and then next year, full year recruit under our belt, and try to get some more kids on our roster, and then really try to hammer, next year, figure out our schedule and what we're gonna do. And I'm excited, man. We're in a tough conference, which I love, and kind of that mentality, like with Doug, like, whatever it is, man, bring it on, like,
Yep.
whatever it is. So whoever's next, man. So, yeah, so we really look forward to that.
Last question I have. What do you define as success, and how has it changed over the years?
It's a good question.
That's one of my favorite ones to ask.
Yeah, I think you can probably define it a lot of different ways. I mean, it's definitely changed for me. You know, I think it probably, when I was younger, I'd say success would be me, like, winning. You know what I mean? Like, getting my hand
Right.
raised. That was my
Yep.
success, right? But now I could probably care less about that now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where's my effort at?
Right.
And I'm putting into whatever I'm doing. Am I happy?
Yep.
So I think you can do that. I mean, it can still be winning. I mean, it can be, but as me as a person, I don't know if I want my success or whatever to just be wrapped around that. It can be, as a coach, I mean, it could be your kids graduating, your kids getting good jobs.
Right.
What do they do after college? That can be a lot of success. Winning matches for sure can be success. Being happy. I mean, I love my job. I wake up, I'm with a family I love and kids I love and my wife I love. Like I'm doing pretty good, man. So, I think it can be a lot of different things, but I definitely know for me, it's changed probably from when high school to college to probably now, and I guess
Yep.
like I said, with effort, like, where's my effort at? Like, I can go in and do my job and do it at a high level and put everything I got into it. I mean, it's a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to what you talked about earlier in the episode. It's like, being the best version of myself daily. So I think that's the biggest success that I've noticed in my life. It's like, okay, I want to be better than I was yesterday.
Right.
So,
And
and that's something I can control. I have full control over. I don't have control if, I end up whatever, not being able to wrestle, and like,
yeah,
that doesn't matter. I don't mean like bettering myself in that way. I just mean being better than I was yesterday. Because then
yeah,
mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is, spiritually,
yeah, man.
there's so many different aspects. So,
Yeah. No, you can see it. It's been fun to watch you, man. Your growth and doing these things and your faith
heck
too.
yeah.
You're not scared of it, man, and put it out there and you can see it, man. It's awesome. So I love it.
Appreciate you. We're going to jump into some rapid fire and wrap up. But Caleb
Okay.
Owenzak wanted to know first why George Strait's not the GOAT.
He's an idiot. That guy's got to go be pre-med, be a dentist, and he has no
Yep.
good. George Strait he's my favorite artist. He is the best. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
All right. What's your favorite restaurant over in that area you're in now?
Oh, hold on a second. In Bloomington,
Yeah.
right,
What's a
man.
what's a good spot to eat?
Schooners.
All right.
Just the local um bar and grill. It's been here forever, but it probably holds a special place for me just because I think when I was in kids club, we always used to go there like after Sunday after the tournaments. We'd come back into town, all the families would get together. So for my career from like kids club through high school, like we always had like a really good group of people that um would go there like every week. And so like for me, it's like I don't know, man. I mean, I still go there about once a week, whether it's lunch or meet my brother there and have dinner or something like that. But it's a yeah, it's just a local place. It's just I mean, you walk by it, you could drive by it real quick, but it's there, and I love going there. I love the people, the vibe. I mean, it's a good little local place.
What's your favorite movie?
Godfather, 1 and 2. It's a tie, and then I mean they're both good, but then the movie, I'd say I guess my next one would be the movie Heat. So the Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer are in it, Gary Sizemore, but it's a badass movie. So if you haven't seen it, it's called Heat. It's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that. Heat.
Yep.
What is your favorite sports team? I know, but
Dude, I don't even know if I want to talk about them. Um,
come on, you're faithful.
I'm a
You got to
Chicago.
be.
I'm a Chicago guy, so my Cubs just played themselves out of playoff contention yesterday, and the Bears are awful. Um, I like the Bull. I actually watch a lot of Bulls games, but I don't know, they've been pretty mediocre. They're like promising and then don't do it. And then the Blackhawks were a lot of fun, like from like 10 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
They were a lot of fun to watch. That was awesome with like Kane and Tays, and then they've kind of fallen off. And but they just got this new guy, Bedard, and he's the #1 pick, and he actually like hit a hat trick the other night. So hopefully he can kind of like build the organization back up and start getting some titles. So and then I don't know if the team I probably pay attention to the most is probably Notre Dame football. And
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm a big Irish fan. I was pretty heartbroken the other night when they lost to Ohio State. It's just kind of crazy you can let a sports team affect you that much, but
Yeah.
I was like fist pumping in the air before that, like being quiet so my kids could sleep, and then it was like, yeah, they just gave up a touchdown, no time left, and like I just got up and like just started cleaning the house or something. Holly was like looking at me, and I'm like, oh, it's over. I was pretty distraught. So, but I pay a lot of attention to them, like Notre Dame football, and I got involved with them like from the Dolly brothers in college, just because I didn't have a college team, and it
Yep.
was that, but it wasn't like, you know, they were Notre Dame fans. I was like, all right, I'll start watching Notre Dame, and next thing I know, like I'm all in, and like me and Benji are still super tight, and we text all game and talk all game and cry together and cheer together. So it's a lot of
There you
fun.
go. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Who's your favorite athlete?
My
Or one of
favorite,
them? Yep.
um, Walter Payton, probably. Just like his Iron Man streak, playing games. Um, played sick. I don't know, just like his streak. He had like a really, really long streak playing games, and he was a Chicago Bear, and he's kind of, like I have one of his jerseys hanging up, so it's pretty cool. Um, baseball, I really like Ryan Sandberg. He plays second base for the Cubs. I really enjoyed watching him. And then, I mean, obviously basketball wise, like Michael Jordan, like
Yep.
he's the GOAT, man. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
Can't change my mind. You can't convince me. I really like Michael Jordan, probably number one on my list, just growing up, and just, I mean, like it was just unbelievable what he did in the '90s. So, watched a lot of Bulls games because of him. So, Jordan.
Then what's your favorite home cooked meal?
It's a lot of pressure on Holly. Um,
Yeah, it is.
favorite meal. Well, we can kind of have some days. Like Friday's always pizza, so that's fun. I enjoy like when we make pizza. We do homemade pizza sometimes with the kids, so that's fun. Just because they get involved in it, so that's
Yeah.
fun. We do some other ones. We're pretty like, I don't know, man. She does a pretty good job. Like I don't know if I could really be like, this is my favorite. We used to actually, I'll say like when she used to make enchiladas, we used to make those a lot more. But we probably don't make them as much because only me and her would eat them. But
Right.
she used to make it like chicken enchiladas, and they were freaking fire. Like I'd eat the whole thing, and I was like, man, that's good. But they were good, man. I'm gonna tell her she gotta make those. That just came to my mind.
Yeah,
So
there
those,
you go.
man. So really enjoyed eating those enchiladas, chicken enchiladas.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Elite Wrestling Club podcast. We hope you found today's episode valuable and enjoyed our exploration of Coach Brett Robbins. To stay connected with us, you can hit the subscribe button. Never to miss an episode. We release new content every Monday. You can leave a review on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Your reviews help us reach more listeners and provide valuable content. You can visit Elite Wrestling Club website and follow us on social media for questions, topic suggestions, or to connect with our community. If you loved the episode, you can donate by using the Elite Wrestling Club PayPal or Venmo on our website. You can go to elitewrestlingclub.store, click podcast, and then hit the podcast website button in yellow where you see the donation heart in the top right corner. These donations help us continue providing remarkable content for you weekly, as well as improve your experience for future episodes as well. I want to give another big shout out to Darren Youngblood and his company, Code of Silence, for their
Ooh.
generous donation and support of the Elite Wrestling Club podcast. Exciting episodes are coming, so stay tuned and join us next time for more inspiration. Thank you for being a part of the Elite Wrestling Club podcast world. Keep exploring within to inspire others.